Welcome everybody to the UFC 263 odds preview and predictions video. I'm James, and on this episode we're going through the entire UFC 263 card. You're going to get my thoughts, my predictions, and everything that's UFC 263, including some highlights from the three main fights on the main card. So keep it locked in right here. It's time for your UFC 263 preview, predictions, and odds. Welcome back, everybody. I'm James. Thanks for tuning in. And before we get started, if you guys like what you see, check out my Twitter, Outside Octagon, my Twitch channel, The Elite Mask Gamer, and my gaming YouTube channel, Train Gaming Elite. Bottom of the screen. I'll add the links to the descriptions as well. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys are as excited as I am for this card. This is UFC 263, Adesanya versus Vettori. This takes place Saturday, June 12th at the Gila River Arena in Glendale, Arizona. And man, is this a stacked card or what? We have two title fight rematches, and we have a 5-round war between Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz. And the rest of the fights on this card should be just as exciting. Welcome, everybody, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. First off, we are going to get right into the early prelims, and we will go back to our rapid fire early prelims. We want to keep this video not too long, save most of the talking for the main event card. So let's do a 1-minute rapid fire predictions here for the early prelims. And we have Carlos Felipe versus Jake Collier. I like Jake Collier in this match. Felipe hasn't been that impressive. Should have lost split decision to Tafa. Fares ZM versus Luigi Vendramini. I believe I said his name right. I have Vendramini winning this one. Chase Hooper versus Steven Patterson. I like the young Chase Hooper over Steven Patterson. I got him by submission, actually. Peterson hasn't fought since 2019 as well. Matt Frevola finally getting his fight against the debuting Terrence McKinney. McKinney's making his debut, stepping in on 1 week's notice. I like Frevola here. And Alexis Davis versus Pani Kayenzed. I like Kayenzed here. I just think Alexis Davis is 36 and not consistent enough. So it looks like we just squeezed that in there, guys. Next time I will try and do better. We fit about 5 prelim fights into this one. Normally there's only 4, so I try to squeeze another one in there. Quick notes before I get into the main prelims. Like I said, Terrence McKinney is stepping in for, I believe, Camacho. Frank Camacho. Yeah, Frank Camacho. So Camacho was in a car accident, I believe, and had to pull out of this fight. And thank goodness for Terrence McKinney stepping in, because Matt Frevola has a very bad history in his last 5 fights. He's gotten all 5 of his last fights canceled, either due to COVID, a foot break, some kind of incident happening where his fights are getting canceled. So they got a replacement for him and Terrence McKinney, who's making his debut. But like I said, I like Frevola to finally get a fight in and pull off a victory against a newcomer. Some other notes: Chase Hooper. Really like this kid. Really young. He's one of the youngest fighters in the UFC. Like I said, Peterson hasn't fought since 2019. So I think Chase Hooper will be able to take this to the ground and get the submission victory. Now, when we go to the prelims, the first fight that we are going to talk about is Mazar Evolov against Hakeem Duwadu. Now, this is a featherweight bout, and this is between the 15th and 14th ranked guys, so they're pretty much right there, just in the rankings. Should be a pretty solid fight. I really like what I've seen from Duwadu. But Evolov, he's coming off 14 straight wins. This guy is a 14-0. And he's got wins over Nick Lentz and Mike Grundy. Duwadu has won 5 straight as well. He looks good as well, but it should be an extremely close fight. I'm giving it to Evolov just because of his technical skills and his ability to win close fights and decision. Like I said, he's got some notable wins. A lot more notable than Duwadu right now, but like I said, I think this fight is the type of fight that can go either way. So this should be a pretty entertaining fight between the two featherweights. The next matchup, we have Lauren Murphy, the number 3 ranked flyweight, against Joanne Calderwood. And Murphy is no slouch here. She's got wins over Madafari and Andrea Lee. Like I said, she's a number 3 ranked flyweight. It's going to be a huge test for her because she's going against Joanne Calderwood, who, if you recall, she's been so close to that title shot. She was even scheduled a title fight, and because she refused to wait as long as they told her she was going to, she decided to take on a fight with Jennifer Maia and actually got caught. And Jennifer Maia ended up submitting her. So that kind of took Calderwood out of the title race, out of the title contention. She has recently come back with a bounce-back victory over Jessica Ai. I think in this one, Calderwood is going to look a lot more focused. Like I said, she wants her title shot back. And in order to do that, she's going to have to knock off some impressive victories. One being Jessica Ai, the next being possibly number 3 ranked Lauren Murphy. And as good as Lauren Murphy has been, I really think Calderwood is on the verge. She's focused. She wants that title shot. She knows a win here will get her right back into that conversation. So I look for Joanne Calderwood to possibly win this. I'm guessing probably decision. I think it's going to be a good fight, though. The next fight, we have Eric Andrews against Darren Stewart. Both these guys fought previously, I believe, in March. This is a rematch between the two. Their last fight was a no contest at UFC Fight Night 187 in March. Yep. And an illegal knee strike by Andrews caused the bout to come to an end as Darren Stewart was unable to continue. An unfortunate ending for Andrews, really, as he was really dominating the fight in this one. He had a lot of good power shots, a lot of good early storm by Eric Andrews and dropped Stewart. And like I said, before he could finish him, an illegal knee by Eric Andrews stopped the bout. So I think in this rematch, I don't see it playing out any differently. I think Eric Andrews, his power is going to come into play here. He's going to be really upset that their last meeting cost him a victory, essentially. So if he can clean up his mistakes, then I think Eric Andrews can really just dominate him the same way. And I just think that Andrews is too much right now for Stewart. So I have Andrews winning this one by a knockout or TKO. And in the last prelims, we have Drew Dober versus Brad Riddell. And man, this should be a good one as well. Dober is coming into this fight after a submission loss to Makachev. But I think he's going to have his hands full again with Riddell here. Riddell is an unbeaten fighter in the UFC, 9-1 overall. He's riding a 6-fight win streak. And I think his mixture of just his striking and his ground game, his all-around good fighter. I think the mixture that he's going to give Dober is going to cause big problems for him, especially if this goes to the ground. I know Dober hasn't fared too well on the ground against opponents. He holds just a 17% takedown accuracy and a 55% takedown defense accuracy. If Riddell really mixes everything up and takes this fight to the ground, it's not going to end well for Dober. I really think that even though the fight goes to the ground, I think Riddell ultimately will end up getting the stoppage via TKO here. Like I said, Dober, he had his hands full with Makachev, and I think that Riddell is going to expose that same weakness here in this fight. I really think that he's going to copy the same thing that Makachev did in his fight. So I look for Brad Riddell to get the win, TKO over Drew Dober. Now we go to the main card where we have Paul Craig versus Jamal Hill. This fight, I feel, is definitely going to go one of two ways. Either Paul Craig, who's coming off a big redemption win over Shogun, a legend in his own right, he can take this to the ground wherever he wants. He's got 12 wins by submission, so Hill does not want to mix it up with Craig on the ground. Like I said, 12 submission wins, win over Shogun recently. That is just not the area that Hill wants this fight to go. If it's going to go that way, then I see Craig pulling this victory off very easily. If it goes the other way, where Hill keeps the fight standing up, he's coming off a very impressive win himself by knocking out Ovince St. Pierre. And that's a huge name in itself, because I know St. Pierre was pretty highly ranked. Has fought for the title himself. You know, his striking ability is just second to none right now. Very impressive guy. I really feel like his striking ability should give Paul Craig a huge problem. Definitely has the advantage there. As long as Hill can keep this fight standing, stuff the takedown attempts by Craig, really keep Craig uncomfortable, backing up against cage, doing whatever he can do to keep Craig uncomfortable striking, I think Hill takes this without a doubt. So I have Hill actually stopping this fight, TKO or KO, in this contest. And the next main card fight we have a really good one. This is going to be probably one of the better fights of the card, in my opinion. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this fight. There's so much talk of the 3 main event fights, but this is the main one for me to watch. These guys could easily win fight of the night. Like I said, very underrated fight. Damian Maia coming off one of the most impressive victories of his career when he defeated Gilbert Burns in March of 2020. So he's coming off a 15-month layoff, which is a long time for Damian Maia, who I believe is 46 years old, 43, 46, something like that. He doesn't, at this age, this is where the guys start to lose a lot. We've seen it with Anderson Silva. We've seen it with Jacare. I mean, if Maia wants to prove that age isn't a thing for him, he really needs to come out strong against this matchup against Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad is one of those up-and-coming guys, young guys. He's got a lot to prove. He's got some quality wins. A win over Damian Maia is going to do wonders in the rankings for Belal Muhammad. So if Maia wants to stay in the win column and be considered for at least another title shot before he retires, I think he has to come out strong against Muhammad in this one. Like I said, Belal Muhammad, he's been very impressive in his own right. One of the newest up-and-coming stars of the UFC today, Muhammad, was on a major roll before no contest to Leon Edwards, who's fighting on this card as well against Nate Diaz. They fought in March after Leon Edwards had a lengthy layoff, and we'll talk about that more in the next fight. But who knows where that fight could have gone if it weren't for an incidental eye poke to Muhammad, which caused the fight to be stopped and considered a no contest. So, if it weren't for that hiccup in Muhammad, who knows what kind of role he would be. I mean, if he would have went on to beat Leon Edwards, we could be talking about Nate Diaz versus Belal Muhammad right now. But right now, he's got his hands full with Damian Maia, who is one of the, if not best, grapplers, Brazilian grapplers in all of the UFC. Damian Maia has been good for a long time. He's really going to have to figure out how to get past the grappling skills of Maia in order to win this one. As good as he is right now, I just don't think that he has an answer for Damian Maia. He's, like I said, I believe he's 43 now, and this could be his last chance at ever getting a shot at the title. If he loses this one, I think he's done. And he knows that. He knows a loss will really derail any shot of him ever competing for a title again. So, in my mind, as good as Belal Muhammad is, I don't think that he's going to get past Maia on this one. I think this goes to a decision ultimately, with Maia just doing enough striking and dominating the grappling and ground game to score a close victory. So I think Maia takes this one by decision, either split or unanimous, but I think this is a very good fight. I think, like I said, Belal Muhammad wants to keep this standing. He wants to control the pace of the fight. Maia is definitely going to have to look for the early takedown, possibly some counters. He's got to play his own pace in this fight in order to win this. So, very interesting matchup here with the young Belal Muhammad against the veteran Damian Maia. So, with that, we go into our first of three main fights, and this was announced as, even though it's not a title fight, this was announced as a 5-round fight between Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz. And let me see if we got some highlights from EA Sports, the video game, since we can't show actual highlights. Thank you, UFC. Copyright. But this is one of the most interesting fights on the card, because you never know what kind of Diaz is going to show up. Is it going to be the Diaz that we seen against Conor McGregor? Or is it the lackluster Diaz that shows more interest in taunting his opponents than really fighting them, and ending up constantly causing him some victories, some winning streaks? We're all hearing rumors now that Diaz is laser focused now. He's training differently. He's not so concerned over the UFC and their drug, habits. That's a lot of the reason why he takes his lengthy layoffs, is so he can't get suspended. I don't know how the testing goes, but now that, USADA is not holding anything against fighters for the use of marijuana, we know Diaz is a big component of that, as seen from the pre-fight press conference where he was lighting up the whole thing. So, we'll see if that has any impact on the way Nate Diaz fights or not. I also love the fact that he is a great betting option right now. I believe on some sites he is a plus 450 underdog. That is huge, guys. Nate Diaz is no slouch. He is a guy that can go in there and fight with the best of them. He is easily a guy that can go in there and win any fight against anybody he's matched up against. And to label him an underdog like that, a minus 500 favorite for Edwards, I think, is just too much. I think it's absolutely ridiculous for a guy that hasn't fought since July of 2019. Let's throw out the Belal Muhammad fight in March. That only went to the second round and ended early. The guy hasn't fought in forever. You know, people want to talk about Nate Diaz and his lengthy layoffs. Leon Edwards is no different, you know. Both these guys are coming off, you know, really lengthy layoffs, and the only difference is Nate Diaz is used to it. He's used to taking fights. He's used to taking time off. He told me he said the other day during the press conference that he was never going to retire. He's not like everybody else. Nate Diaz is a different breed. Okay? Not to take anything away from Edwards, I just don't think he's got the quality opponents. I don't think he's got the quality wins. As we see some highlights here of Diaz and Edwards from EA Sports. Edwards kind of proving me wrong here, but like I said, I think that this isn't going to go the way that the game is going. He's not going to knock out Diaz that easily. You know, he's got quality wins against Donald Cerrone and Dos Santos, but realistically, you know, what kind of top contenders has Leon Edwards really beat? I just think Nate Diaz has a star power. He's used to fighting on the grand stage. And to give more ammunition for Nate Diaz, Dana White just recently said that the winner of this fight gets the winner of Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. Usman, a guy who's already beaten Leon Edwards. I don't want to see that fight again. So I'd love to see Nate Diaz pull his victory off, shock everybody, and go on to face either Colby Covington or Kamaru Usman. I think that would be a hell of a war. That's definitely a main eventer. To me, like I said, I just don't think Leon Edwards has fought the quality opponents that Nate Diaz has. I think Nate Diaz is going to come in here focused. You know, who knows what the whole marijuana thing has on his psyche. We don't know. You know, we don't know what Diaz is going to show up. But if Diaz shows up like the good Diaz, the one that can take down Conor McGregor, the one that can stand and bang and absolutely destroy opponents, I think that's the Diaz who wins this fight. So, my smart money is on Nate Diaz in this one at plus 450 underdog. Definitely a smart choice to put money on if you're putting money on any fight. And with that, we go straight into the first of two title fights. Davison Figueroa versus Brandon Moreno. And man, if you guys did not see these guys fight the first time in December, watch it. Go back and watch this fight. Watch all 5 rounds. Honestly, this was right up there with Joanna and Weili as possibly Fight of the Year candidate. I mean, these guys absolutely killed each other. One of the most entertaining, if not most entertaining flyweight battle I know I've ever seen. This first fight ended in a majority draw, so Figueroa keeps his title in that one. But I'll tell you what, guys, if it wasn't for one round, the last round of that fight, the 5th round, if Moreno could have came out more aggressive and proved that he, without a doubt, won that round, I think we're looking at Moreno as the champion with Figueroa challenging. It was honestly that close of a fight. In round 4, Moreno absolutely dominated Figueroa, and multiple times in that round alone was very close to getting a knockout, finishing him. Moreno can hang. Don't count this guy out. He's the underdog because he's not the champion. That's solely the only reason why he's not underdog. If neither of these guys were champion, I think odds are even. I mean, these guys are battle tested. They're ready to go another 5 rounds this night. I mean, I really think that these guys are the best that the flyweight division has, and it's going to be interesting to see how this fight plays out. Both guys are bangers. I mean, hopefully they put on the same kind of show that they did the first time around. This time, really look for Moreno to use his speed more to avoid them big, heavy shots by Figueroa. That was the big difference in the fight, is Moreno's speed, his jabs, was really doing work in that fight and doing damage to Figueroa, scoring points, winning him rounds. Figueroa looked like he was all about the power shots in that fight, loading up the right hand late in the fight. Really connecting with some hard, heavy shots to Moreno, which ultimately led to him probably winning the fight, or at least scoring, winning some rounds and scoring points, at least give it a draw. I think in this one, though, if Moreno uses his speed right this time, he avoids them heavy shots from Figueroa. I don't think Figueroa has anything else in his arsenal that's going to be able to beat Moreno. I think Moreno can go in there. He hit his jabs like he did last time. Hit them shots. Take the fight deep into waters. Really tired. You've seen Figueroa a little bit tired in the 4th and 5th. He's a bigger guy. He cuts weight. Moreno stays right where he's at, 125. I really think that if Moreno plays this smart, he has a chance of dethroning the champion in this one. So I like the underdog in this one too. I'm all about the underdogs on this card. And if there's one underdog that I like the most, it's Brandon Moreno. I really love what he did in his last fight. Like I said, it fixed up a few things defensively, and I think he takes the title off Figueroa in this one. So I have Moreno. I think he comes in better prepared than he did the first time around, and I think he's going to take this one by decision. It's going to be another war. I know a lot of fighters don't take the title, a lot of challengers don't take the title off a fighter by decision, but I think in this one, as long as he plays it smart, he has a chance to win, at least 3 or 4 rounds easy as long as he fights smart. So I really like Moreno over Figueroa in this one. So with that being said comes our main event of the night, Israel Adesanya against Marvin Vettori. And like this one, these guys have fought before. Not for the title early on in their career. We saw Adesanya pulling off a split decision victory over Marvin Vettori. This is going to be another interesting fight. A lot of people, including Vettori, believe that he won that fight. Like I said, it was a split decision. I've gone back and watched it. It's very close. I can see ways of people scoring it for Vettori. I can see people scoring it for Adesanya. And the judging's never the same. That's why they have 3 judges, and they're always different. Every judge scores these fights differently. So it all depends on how you score fights. I'm not going to give you my opinion. I'm going to say it's a very close fight. And since that time, I think both fighters have grown. I think more Adesanya, just because of the quality of fighters he's faced. He's gone in and proved that he can clean out a division. Like I said, he's even gone up to challenge for another weight class. So this is really Adesanya's mission, much like Kamaru Usman. His mission just go through this division again. And I really don't see much competition here outside Vettori for him right now. Vettori, I believe, is the only guy that's really come close to beating Adesanya in this division. Vettori, he's got some power. He likes being aggressive, and I think if he wins this one, it's gonna be because of his aggressiveness in this fight. Vettori, he's won his last 5 straight, so he's on a roll. But he hasn't had the quality opponents, like I said, that Adesanya has. So I think Vittori's getting this shot here because of his winning streak, his consistentness, but not necessarily the big name value guys. Like I said, look for him to be aggressive in this fight. He's already pissed off that he thinks he won the first one. He's not going to leave this fight in the hands of the judges again. He's going to be super aggressive. He's going to walk Iggy down, and he's going to look for an early onslaught, multiple, combos, multiple punches, close combat from Marvin Vettori here, I think, early in the fight. He really wants to finish this. With all the trash talk that's been going on, he's not going to let this fight go 5 rounds. Like I said, their first fight only went 3 rounds. It wasn't a championship fight, so we don't know if Vettori has what it takes to go into the championship rounds. So he may not know either. He may, like I said, that may be another factor in him wanting to finish his fight early. On the other hand, Adesanya is not going to mind, taking this deep into that territory. He's a champion. He's been to multiple championship rounds, especially against bigger opponents. I think he has the confidence as well that if this is going to decision, you have to beat the champion in order to take that title off him. If it's another close fight, it's not going to be a split decision. These judges are going to give it to Adesanya if it's anywhere remotely close. You got to beat the champion to beat the champion, and all the confidence right now is on Adesanya. He's not going to do anything stupid in this one. He's not going to take any unnecessary risks in this fight. Rather, he's going to try and keep the distance. He's going to let Marvin Vettori, come at him, try and make mistakes, and he's going to capitalize on Vettori's mistakes. Ultimately, he's going to use his reach. He's got a huge reach advantage. And he's just going to look to counter Marvin Vettori. He's going to look to insert his own combos, his own striking ability on him. And ultimately, I just think that he's too technical of a fighter right now to overcome. I do think this is a close fight. Do not be surprised. I'll go out on a limb right here. My pick is Adesanya. I think ultimately he catches Vettori and will either knock him down in the second or third round. But I am not going to be shocked. I'm not going to have my jaw dropped. I'm not going to be surprised if Vettori ends up winning this. If Vettori, like I said, utilizes his power, his aggressiveness early on in this fight, don't be surprised, and I'm telling you this right now, Vettori is your new champion. I think he really has a clear shot of dethroning Adesanya. And it's one of those things where each guy has to stick to the game plan. Whatever the game plan is coming into this, that's where they got to stick it out. And if Vettori sticks to his game plan, Adesanya sticks to his game plan, I think Adesanya pulls it out. Like I said, I don't think he's going to make mistakes. I think he's going to capitalize on Vettori's, any little mistake Vettori makes, Adesanya, I think, will capitalize and use his counter ability and his length to really extend the fight and be able to hit Vettori with things that Vettori just can't hit Adesanya with. So, and that is all that I have for you guys. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys after UFC 263 for all of the action, the review, all my thoughts, and I will see you guys next time right here on Outside the Octagon.